AEW Dynamite and NXT from, what was it, the 5th?
August 5th, brother.
August 5th. Yeah, let's just start with the main event in NXT. Which was Undisputed Era, Fish and O'Reilly versus Imperium.
Correct.
And the entire purpose of this match was to draw all the attention. I don't like that part of it. Was to draw all the attention to Mcafee and Adam Cole, because Mcafee comes out and he's on commentary. He is being a total heel, 100% obnoxious, a total dick, and he's actually really good at it. It sucks when a non-wrestler is good at that aspect of wrestling, because he can't pay it off, which is the problem, right? Or maybe he can. But either way, the match was probably going to be a great match, but it was hard to pay attention to the match because McAfee is just roasting Adam Cole the entire time. Adam Cole, obviously there's no fans, so they're not that far from each other, and Cole can hear him. And Cole's gonna eventually make his way to him and kind of give him a warning. Like, hey, I hear you, bro. It's not funny. Like, I thought we were good, whatever. This is gonna Cole's gonna lose it. It's gonna cause a distraction, and Imperium's gonna hit their finish on the Undisputed Era, get the win. I'll let you start with this because I think I liked it a little bit more than you did.
Oh Lord, listen. When I see a main event of Fish and O'Reilly against Imperium, that's tag team gold. Titles on the line or not, yeah, it's an added plus to have the NXT titles on the line, but does it really matter? No. The thing that gets me about this match is that Pat McAfee's out there, and again, McAfee has wrestled before professionally, but he's only worked, I think, 1 or 2 matches.
Oh, I didn't know that. So he is trained.
Slightly. Somewhat. The thing about it is that, again, this is where, for me, like if Pat McAfee was trying to punk out some, for lack of a better term, nondescript, mid-carder on the show, it wouldn't bother me nearly as much. Pat McAfee is a non-wrestler, pretty much a very, very replaceable announcer on WWE TV, and they're utilizing him to get heat on the biggest star on the brand. You tell me that great rivalry between Mean Gene Okerlund, God rest his soul, and Ric Flair. You remember that heat spot that Gene Okerlund got on Hulk Hogan? No, you want to know why? Because it never happened. It's stupid. It's just, oh my God. Listen, for Pat McAfee, this whole thing was a work. And again, as I said it before, if it's not leading to a match, it ain't worth jack squat. Apparently, it's leading to a match now in NXT TakeOver, and I'm like, of all the ways, I mean, listen, is it a good way that we need to turn the Undisputed Era babyface? Yes, eventually we do. That's what this thing is doing. The problem is that you'd figure with the Undisputed Era, if you're going to turn them babyface on a swarmy announcer, a guy who is going to get in the ring and get his ass whooped by Adam Cole. Now, there's a lot of really interesting booking decisions you could make with this match.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being is that the Undisputed Era turns on Adam Cole, which nice. I would hate.
I would like.
I would hate that. I would hate that only because of the fact that I think that the Undisputed Era need to have a babyface run.
Okay, I can dig that.
They need a babyface run. And the thing about it is they have Fish and O'Reilly have the perfect foil with Imperium, a beautiful classic tag team match that was ruined because again, you have a Z Squad announcer beefing with the biggest star in the brand, in Adam Cole. With all due respect to Keith Lee, he's the champion. Adam Cole is the biggest star on the NXT brand. And if anybody wants to argue with me, I'll invite you to.
Well, Finn is probably a bigger star, but he hasn't been presented like that in NXT.
In the NXT brand, it's Adam Cole, and then there's everybody else.
In terms of booking, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of interesting things you can do, and they want to give it a payoff. And I get it that NXT's looking to get a celebrity type thing. Listen, Pat McAfee is not a celebrity. He's not.
I don't think that's what they're doing.
You know, for goodness sake, listen. If you want to get somebody from ESPN, man, get Stephen A. Smith in there against him. That'd still be stupid, but at least I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, come on, no, this is it. Listen, it's absurd. There's interesting choices you can make here with this. It's just a matter that, again, for Pat McAfee to be the impetus for what could be a babyface turn for Adam Cole and for the Undisputed Era, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like me and Gene Okerlund, God rest his soul, or Michael Cole, or you know what? Why don't we have, why don't we get Sean Mooney back in WWE and let him get into a beef with Roman Reigns? It's stupid. It makes no sense. And listen, I know that Adam Cole didn't have a natural match lined up for this coming takeover. So you put him in there against McAfee, whatever. It's going to be what it's going to be. But I thought that this was ridiculous because, one, that punk kick that McAfee hit Adam Cole with, he could not have been able to kick a stuffed football 10 feet, much less knock out a grown man, no matter how small McAfee claims that Adam Cole is.
Wait, what are you talking about with the way it looked?
It looked like crap.
I thought it looked good because they cut it. You didn't see it.
No, it was. Yeah, there's a reason why you didn't see it.
Well, that's WWE style. They hide everything. So
yeah. So they need no. They don't hide everything. They have to hide this because it looked bad.
No, they hide everything, Lou. That's why the 700 cuts per WWE match.
That was no. That looked bad. No. Listen, that whole thing looked horrible. All right. Now, Pat McAfee. Listen, Pat McAfee is very good at at creating heat for himself. The problem with that is that again he's a non-wrestler. And he's not a person. He's not a personality on WWE TV. He's not like like God rest his soul. He's not a Bobby Heenan. He's not he's not like a Jim Cornette in his manager's role. A guy who can talk and get heat for his guys.
Well, maybe he should be. He's pretty good.
Listen, maybe he'd probably be really good at it. Here's the problem: is that as of this past Wednesday night, he wasn't.
Wait, he was good on Wednesday.
No, he was great. No, he was. The thing is that he had no credibility as I don't want to call it a character, as a performer on the WWE TV shows. And for him to do that against the biggest guy in the brand, on the NXT brand, is BS. So, whatever.
Okay, well, look, the reality is that it's happening, so I'm going to try to look at the bright spots here. Pat McAfee is a good performer. The angle, we know it's a work. We knew it was a work because Adam Cole's not going to risk his job. He's not dumb. This is all set up. We know McAfee has ties to WWE, and he does a bunch of stuff with them. So we knew it was a work. But in terms of executing this type of angle, it felt real. They did as much as they could to keep it believable and realistic. That's why Adam Cole had to send out a tweet apologizing. That is standard WWE when somebody fucks up. In real life, somebody messes up, hey, you got to apologize publicly. Whether you're wrong or right, though, doesn't matter. We're publicly traded. You got to go apologize. So that's why they did it like that. Obviously, they had to start showing it on TV, which that's when you know it's a work. But at least you didn't like the kick, but the kick is believable him being able to knock Adam Cole out with a kick is believable. It's the only believable offense he has because he's an NFL punter. He would actually, if he really kicked Adam Cole in the head, he'd probably kill him.
Well,
he'd probably kick his head right off and break his neck.
Well, the only thing is for me is that even if you're going to do a worked kick, it's still got to connect, and it didn't.
No. Yeah, I'm not talking about the execution. I'm talking about
Horrible.
believing that he can do that.
Okay,
McAfee could probably do that for real and kill somebody, but it's wrestling, so everyone's kind of superhuman. So like a punt kick, his punt kick would be more devastating than Randy Orton's in real life. He's a punter. He's an NFL punter, and he was probably the best at it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like imagine getting kicked by a soccer player. That must suck. But there were some good things. Well, before the match started, they showed Fish and O'Reilly shadowboxing. I usually hate when wrestlers shadowbox unless they actually train in striking. Then it looks beautiful. So I was happy to see that. Triple H and Shawn Michaels did a great job. Triple H looks so pissed. It looks so real. And then when he pushes McAfee, like he comes out, he's already like selling it pretty well. The drama after the kick, he turns it up, the intensity, and pushes McAfee, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like such a real reaction. So it was nice to see that stuff. But either way, I'll stop torturing you.
I mean, it's not torture. It's just a matter that, again, it's one of those things where, I'll wait to see what the payoff is, but again, it's a matter of looking at the chapters, and this particular one, I understood what they're trying to do, and listen, if what they wanted to do was just create a buzz, that's fine. It's just for me when I see it, I'm like, man, anybody else but Adam Cole.
Well, that another thing is Adam Cole is the perfect. If you had to do it, right? They don't have to do it, but if you had to, there is no one better.
He's the best guy
in NXT than Adam Cole at these little intricate, little small detail stories that the match might not matter. It's the story that matters for Adam Cole. He still can have great matches. I'd rather see him have great matches. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get a surprise, like you said, maybe a turn or maybe someone to fight for McAfee, which would be a big-time dick move if he brings out someone else to fight for him. Like, did you think I was going to fight you?
I would prefer that he does that because he can establish himself as a personality, a manager or personality type.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole can then do the babyface thing, beat his foil, and then do the whole, 5 minutes with the manager type thing, and then get his hands on McAfee, smack him around a little bit, and then we can, they can continue on with their chapter, but at least now I don't have to worry about Pat McAfee getting in the ring because I'm not. I
mean, if he gets in the ring, it'll be a very basic match, but Adam Cole will beat his ass. So that'll be the payoff. I'd rather see someone else show up, someone new, use it to introduce someone who we haven't seen in a while, or someone from the main roster come down to NXT, or a young guy who we haven't seen on TV that's maybe intimidating looking, something like that.
Okay.
But let's put a smile on your face and let's go to that MJF headquarters.
My boy MJF. He's the best thing on that freaking show. He really is. He's the best thing on AEW TV. He really is.
He has like a campaign headquarters, basically. So it was like a little tour. It looked legit. I liked it. I also like that he's playing this because now he's running for champion. He's kind of being fake, very fake. He's kind of fake nice now, where he was a little bit more out there with his rudeness and crudeness, and now he's kind of like being kind of fake, and he wants your vote. And it's like, bro, we know you're an asshole. You can't fool us. But he's doing a really good job of like selling it. Like he's kind of playing fake baby face, presidential type politician. And you know, he's doing it. I think he's doing a good job. Good for him.
I will say is that for the most part, probably about 99% of the time, anything that MJF does on AEW TV is usually gold. This is no exception. I think the only one criticism that I have of this is that I don't like the fact that he has wrestlers on these videos that have already wrestled on AEW TV. The only reason why I say that is, especially with a guy like Lee Johnson, is because of the fact that I've said this before in other videos, is that Lee Johnson is a guy that you could do something with. And I don't think that having him as a minion for MJF is the right thing to do. You can hire an extra, you can get somebody else. You know, you could take the little guy that wears the mask, you know, standing out there ringside that I haven't seen him work not one single match. Take the mask off of him.
Saprentico?
Yeah, exactly him.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, take the mask off him. Unless they want to kind of build to a little something where Lee Johnson stands up for himself and gets squashed by MJF in the match.
No, that serves no purpose, because the thing about it is Lee Johnson, there's no established relationship. You know, the whole $1 Million Man Virgil thing worked out in.
You know, it's funny that you said that. When you said that, you know, that they could probably do something with him, right in my head, I thought Virgil. Literally, as soon as you said that, I thought Virgil.
All I know is that storyline back in 1991, the reason why it worked is because there was an established relationship for 4 years on WWE TV.
Well, maybe they established this relationship for 4 years.
Highly unlikely.
Well, things move faster, so 2 years.
What? They try like 2 weeks, bro.
No. AEW takes their time, brother.
Okay, if you say so.
They do. This was right after that MJF thing. It was the Matt Hardy promo. Pretty much letting everyone know that he's dropping all the extra characters. So he says, because maybe he has no control of these characters. Who knows? But he had like a heart-to-heart with the TV audience here, and he's like, "Hey, man, I heard you. It sounds like, you know, this isn't as over." And you know what? That broken Matt, he was doing all 5. That would have been very difficult to get over. But the broken Matt character got over because of the audience. And if there's no audience there, it might not get over, you know? There's some things that need an audience, and that's probably one of them. And either way, we're going to get a serious Matt Hardy, which works better to help the young talent. You know, having the silly gimmick is not going to really help anyone. He's just going to be entertaining. He's not going to have any blood feuds as broken Matt Hardy. Like, you know, but it looks like we're about to have one now with Sammy Guevara, who accidentally tore into Matt with that chair shot. That was a lot of blood, which made for great television, if you ask me. But I don't know if that's gonna fit well. It was a mistake, but you know, either way, he bloodied Matt up. Matt looked shocked. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" There was a whole pool of blood. But I am looking forward to this match now because of that.
See, the way that I saw this Matt Hardy promo is, some of it, like, I believed some of it. I definitely believed, you know, I like this version of Matt Hardy, just because I think that the more, especially with the broken Matt gimmick, when he did it in TNA, when he got to do some of it in WWE, the little that he got to do there, and then what he's done in AEW with this character, I've always thought that the character was stupid. Always thought the gimmick was just dumb. But when he did it in TNA, they kind of, you know, this was at a time when TNA was in a very, very difficult spot, and Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy were the biggest stars they had on their show. So they basically had carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. no matter how far off they went off the tracks, TNA was going to go right with them. And it did serve for some entertaining stuff, but at the same time, it got more and more goofy to the point where I'm like, okay, they've gone too far off the rails for me to even take this part way seriously as anything wrestling related. But when he comes off and he's saying that the reason why he came to AEW was because he wanted to be in a place where he was respected and, you know, his legacy got to be respected, I believe that. He's basically telling his truth about his situation when he was with the WWE in this last run, that it wasn't the best experience for him. Once he and Jeff got split up and, you know, and he went on his own, he was, for lack of a better term, he was basically jobbed out. And I believe that. However, you know, the reasons for doing his crazy characters and all this stuff, I didn't buy that. And when he comes out and he says, hey, I'm no longer going to do these crazy characters, I'm just going to be me, I'm like, you do realize that that's still another gimmick. He just a gimmick on top of a gimmick. It just means that he's no longer going to be Broken Matt Hardy, but now he's going to be Matthew Hardy. No one has ever known him as Matthew Hardy except probably his parents, you know, and his attorney. Everybody knows him as Matt Hardy, and there's a reason for that. You know, that's, you know, and the fact that he's calling himself, you know, oh, I'm stronger than death and unkillable. Listen, do us all a favor. You've used these gimmicks in different iterations since 2005 when you were in the WWE. Stop it. Just get rid of them altogether. Because the more of these little things that you try to do, I can't believe that you're going to be just Matt Hardy. You're not. It's just you're giving us another gimmick. You're trying to be more serious. Fine. I wrote this as like, I appreciate the fact that Sammy Guevara came out and jumped Matt Hardy because he's trying to get retribution for what happened to him the week before. Mm-hmm. What this showed me is that Sammy Guevara does not know how to fight. Meaning that if it's a fight, like he doesn't know how to do the, you know, like the wrestling brawl. He clearly doesn't know how to do it. He clearly just has no clue how to do it.
But it looked good until he fucked up the chair shot.
No. I thought that the brawl looked bad. The chair shot, which was an accidental chair shot, was the only thing that gave it realism, and it was an accident. But when they were brawling, it's like I watched it and I'm like, I appreciate the fact that Sammy's trying to do this, but it shows me clearly that in the worked sense, he doesn't know how to fight. Mm-hmm. Then once he hit the chair shot on Matt Hardy and he was bloodied up, that should have been the end of it. That should have been the end. Sammy can then just, like, you know, pound away on him. Referees come out, they split him up, and he leaves with all the blood on him. No, he has to put him on the table, jump off the stage, and then do this, you know, whatever, the 3.5 spins and hit him with, and I'm like, dude, you got the accidental color. It worked perfectly. All you had to do is mount him, beat him up some more until either the wrestlers have to jump from the barricade and pull you off, which would have been better, or the referees come. That's it. When you do that move, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, they don't know how to leave better off alone. That move should have never happened because you're in a fight. This is the same criticism that I have of a lot of today's modern wrestlers about saying that, you know, they look big and strong, but what's going to happen if somebody slaps them in the mouth? Are they going to hit me with a Hurricane Rana? No, you're going to punch me in the mouth and you're going to kick my ass until I'm left in a bloody pool. They had that again. Yes, it wasn't the planned thing. It was an accident, but it was there. You got to know how to leave better off alone. And you know, he did that move and I was just like, okay, it always has to be one step too much. He would have left it right there. It would have been fine. You don't need to do that move. Unnecessary, completely.
All right, let's go to Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes.
Good match.
If you know me, you know I like competitive matches. I don't necessarily like squashes unless it's a monster heel that you're trying to establish.
Or a monster babyface.
But This one I normally would have been fine with the match that they had, but there's no better time to do a squash than now. You have the perfect heel and the perfect babyface. The biggest babyface, in terms of size in the brand. Cameron Grimes is not small, but he's not big. But
So, I mean,
What
if
Cameron Grimes is good at, he's good at being annoying and getting his heat back. You can squash him. He'll be fine. Not everyone will be fine, but he will. Also, you have the storyline that you're telling is that Lee is he's getting more pissed every week. Every week he's getting more pissed off because Cross is getting in his head, right? So if you want to tell this story that Lee's starting to get really pissed, Lee usually lets people stay in the match. He's having a good time out there. He's cool, calm, taking his time. That's his style. He wasn't necessarily working that style. He had a sense of urgency and a sense of aggression, but I just think it's much better for him to go out there. Maybe Grimes gets some early offense, but Lee to put him away and not care about this match. I need to get rid of you because I have bigger fish to fry. And it would have not hurt, not a soul. I don't think anyone would have been upset if Lee beats him in 2 minutes here. He has the right offense for it, the right look, and the right opponent. There was no better time in NXT to do a squash than right here. For the story that you're telling, right? They're telling that he's pissed off. Okay, show me that he's pissed.
Well, here's the thing, right? This whole match was the classic big man little man match, and I thought that this match was near perfect. The only thing that I did not like is I didn't like the fact that Cameron Grimes hit that, that
reversal,
reversed, and I just looked up and I just thought to myself, I'm like, listen, that move that he does looks very impressive. However,
he would not be able to do that to Keith Lee.
However, Keith Lee is 340 pounds. Yeah. Cameron Grimes is probably 225. And the cooperation that's needed to have that happen is just ridiculous. And I was like, okay, that's the one spot in this match where I'm like, if I would have been booking that match, and Grimes is like, hey, I'd like to do this. I'm like, you can try, but Keith Lee is going to grab you, and then he's going to hit a big move on you, and that's the setup to the finish. Because in all honesty, I'm like, no, you're not going to hit this move on Keith Lee. It's impressive looking, but you're not going to hit it on him. It just didn't make any sense. I actually thought really that everything was great in this match. I mean, Keith Lee came out first. He looked like Hulk. He certainly wasn't smiling or anything. He looked like he was like Hulk smash. He's coming right into the ring. Mm-hmm. Cameron Grimes comes to the ring, and he's jaw jacking and everything, but he's doing the perfect heel thing. He's talking smack, but you can clearly tell that he looks scared. Clearly tell that he's like, okay, I'm not too interested in getting in the ring and actually facing this guy. He got in there. It was good, good use of his offense. In the beginning of the match, what did he do? He's coming in, and Keith Lee goes into him, and he runs to the corner, and he does it 3 times. So it's the perfect heel thing to do. He knows the babyface is mad, and the babyface wants to tear his head off. He knows Keith Lee is going to come after him, and if he tries to run full force in the beginning, Keith Lee is going to take his lunch and go home. He just went psychological stuff, worked with the audience that was there. So Cameron Grimes did all the right things. I just thought that with Keith Lee when he grabbed Cameron Grimes in that front face lock, I love the way that Cameron Grimes sold, because he almost sold like he was almost passing out. That's the right thing to do. When a guy like Keith Lee grabs you like that, he don't have to do much. He just put a little squeeze. He ain't even got to go all the way in, and you're gonna feel it, especially when you're Cameron Grimes' size. I wrote here, Cameron Grimes was the rubber ball to Keith Lee's wall. It's like playing off the wall. Cameron Grimes bounces off the Hulk, boom, and he's flying everywhere for him. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Cameron Grimes, and again, this is where ingenuity comes in. Cameron Grimes knows that Keith Lee as the babyface is just wanting to tear his head off, if for no other reason because of the fact that he wants to get his hands on Cross, and it ain't working out at the moment. What does Cameron Grimes do? What does the little guy do against the big guy? You go after the legs. hurt the legs, get the man down. So he tried doing that in the spot before the commercial break. You know, I kept saying in this match, Cameron Grimes is trying. It's not like Keith Lee was letting him stay in the match. It's just Cameron Grimes was just finding, you know, ingenious ways to stay in it. I don't think that he ever really got Keith Lee in a lot of trouble, but he just kept hanging in there. You know, I love that. I love that. What did that Grizzly Magnum double chop that Keith Lee hits?
Yeah.
I love that.
big double chop.
Oh, just the big paws.
I like that he has a signature chop. Like Big Show has his signature chop.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to make it look unique, and he found a way.
I love the fact that Keith Lee beat him with the Spirit Bomb, and he didn't use his finish. That's great. That's great, because what it did is that it's establishing that Keith Lee was able to smash through Cameron Grimes. He didn't need to use his finish to beat him. When he hit him with that Spirit Bomb, I was like, bah, boom, and I was like, he's not getting up from here. 1, 2, 3. If Cameron Grimes would have kicked out of that, I'm like, this whole match would have been garbage. If he would have kicked out of that one move. I liked it. I thought it was a fun big man, little man match. I thought both guys looked really good. You know, both guys came out of this match looking really good, because Keith Lee is this Hulk. You know, he's just smashing over his opponent. And Cameron Grimes, by just hanging in there and being the swarmy heel and using some ingenuity, and he's like, all right, I'm not going to outmuscle this guy. I'll try to outbrain him. You know, yeah, it didn't succeed. It didn't work out for him, but he looked good. Whoever laid out that match did a good job, except for that one spot that we talked about earlier. I like Karrion Kross, but I don't like his promos.
I like this promo. I thought he was really intense. I thought it looked unique. It's his promo. His promos look like that. No one else's look like that. Question though, I saw he laid out, I don't know how many people, which I'm
like
not
35 guys. He laid out the entire locker room.
Yeah, I don't like that. There's no way that will happen. It doesn't matter how much of a killer you are. Only Larkin by himself will give Killer Kross a good match. We know that based on watching the television. Only Larkin gives everyone a good match. He looks great. His offense is great. His strikes look crazy. But you're telling me that only Larkin plus 10 can't at least keep fighting back against Kross? Or did Kross sneak up on all of them and choke them all out one by one? Just sneak like a ninja.
Yeah, well, guess what? The ninja gimmick belongs to Akira Tozawa, and there's a reason why. And there's a reason why. Ever since Ricky Steamboat and the Great Muta, that whole thing didn't working out. It's a reason why, because it's silly. Listen.
They should have just have him lay out two guys.
Here's the thing. You know what would have been more effective here? As crazy as this sounds, the way to make this more effective is that if Karrion Kross lays out Mia Yim.
That would have been nice. That would have been sick.
Because there has to be no show of physicality.
Yeah, you don't show the physicality. You don't explain the physicality. You literally just laid there. Because Scarlett could have did it. But in Keith Lee's head, I'm going to kill Killer Kross. That's all it is.
But that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a more effective way to do it. It looked ridiculous when it literally was like about a dozen guys. And I'm like,
if it was an action movie, it would be sick.
But it's not an action movie. It's not.
I don't like that, only because in action movies we know who the star is, and if the star kills 50 movie jobbers, it's fine. But in wrestling, you got to try to get as many people over as possible, and only Larkin's been getting himself over. And that's the only guy who I was able to get a good view of was Oney Larkin. It's like, really? The guy who's getting over with losses, he's losing and getting over. You know how hard it is to do that?
Yeah, let's reference, Mick Foley as Cactus Jack, NWA 1989. Let's reference that. That's like the perfect example of getting a guy over by losing. We love you, Mick, but that's some truth.
It can be done. It can be done.
But yeah, I thought it was overall a really, really fun match, great segment. The whole thing with Karrion Kross, it's a little silly because it's about subtlety. Everything has to. I think with Karrion Kross, what they're trying to do is that he's trying to show like this immense force, And I think that realistically, what he needs to do, it has to be kind of like a Hannibal Lecter type thing. It's in that small detail. It's in that small detail, and it's just like you find that pin needle spot where it hurts the most. And realistically, I'm like, laying out the whole locker room seems kind of ridiculous, but I'm like, it could be just as effective as if you go after Mia Yim, Keith Lee's girlfriend. Go after her.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. I'm gonna try my best. The 12-man tag.
Woo, child.
Which I know if you did Lou, if you did not enjoy this match, you will never enjoy a multi-man match. Because I felt like they laid it out for you specifically.
For me.
Yes, for Lou. They was like, we're gonna make Lou happy today.
Okay.
Of course they got their stuff in, so it was more of a compromise. But there's no way that we would believe that the Dark Order would beat the Elite and FTR.
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Unless they have a numbers advantage.
Correct.
They built to this numbers advantage. That's like step one. Okay, we got the numbers advantage. Let's get that out the way. That's part of the story. That's story going on.
That's logical. That makes sense.
Yeah, if you want, if your goal is to get Brody Lee to get a big win, this is how you do it. You give him an unfair advantage. Another thing here, another part of the story is when he gets hurt. Who got hurt? Was it Cash or Dax? Dax, yeah. When Dax goes down, right there you see Hangman. Like if he's the wife, he's so concerned. Right? He did not hesitate, did not skip a beat. Well, everyone is checking on him. But the key is that Kenny's in the ring by himself, and eventually he's gonna get jumped, and no one
on one, and not a soul to help him,
and no one's even looking. No one is even looking. That's subtle, but it's important to a potential future story that we got here.
Correct.
Hangman's gonna go to the back, which is another thing. It's like, not only did you not pay attention when I was getting jumped, but you left. It's like
you're one of the elite.
It's like
you're one of the members of the elite.
It's okay if we understand that Cash and Dax are gonna have each other's back, and fuck this match. Your health is more important, absolutely. But what about Kenny's health, who was left alone?
Well, he's the best bout machine. He don't need no partners.
Not 1 on 6.
He's the best bout machine. Damn it, 1 on 6. Come on, bro.
Not 1 on 6. No one. Which I like. If you're down one against 6, you need to lose that match. You need to get your ass beat. Another thing I like, very subtle. Dark Order were taking advantage that it was 6 of them. They were tagging 4 or 5 people at a time.
That was stupid.
I thought that was genius.
No.
How do we get people?
I hate that caravan tag. It's stupid. I think it's
logical.
It makes no logic to tag team wrestling. Zero.
I think it does.
Listen, here's the you know what the best version of the caravan tag, who actually does a fantastic job of this, is the New Day. When they do that, the unicorn stomp, which is like the dumbest sounding thing in the world. But they have the guy in the corner. They tag. One guy stomping him. The next guy tags and stomps him. The next guy. It's a caravan, but the thing is, they're tagging. One guy does it. He comes out. The next guy continues. The next guy continues. It's not, oh, I'm Brody Lee. I tag in Cabana tags in, Angels tags in. And then all 6 of them are in the ring, and the referee's just like, oh, yeah, that's cool. No, it's stupid. Makes no sense.
Wow.
And the thing about it is they did it 3 times in this, maybe 4 times in this match. Damn it, do it once. It's a gimmick. Do it once.
I mean, not if it's working, right? If something's working, you got to keep going.
Oh my God! Come on, man. That's listen. You're that's God. Come on.
Okay, well, this match, for the most part, was like the pace was pretty slow for a 12-man tag, right?
You got to tell a story.
They told like 5 stories here. They continue on with buttering up Cabana, giving him trying to get him to win, giving him the big spots. Whenever someone's down, tack a ban in so he could get his shit in to make him feel good. And eventually, when the Dark Order can't get it done, big Brody Lee, Mr. Brody Lee is gonna come in and finish the job. Now, how did that last spot? Because I was a big fan of it, but a lot happened. The ending of the match. You remember how it went?
The way that the ending of the match, I mean, God, the way that the ending, I know that the ending is that it was Brody Lee and I'm sorry, I was gonna say Cabana, but it's not Cabana. It's Adam Page. They're in the ring and they're wrestling. If I'm not mistaken, I think that there was the two underlings, the two like real underlings, came into the ring
Mhm.
to try to help Brody Lee out. Page was able to thwart him, and then boom, Brody Lee hit him with that big clothesline and was able to take him down. So it's basically Brody Lee beating Adam Page with, I guess because I know Brody Lee used to use the clothesline as well, so it's not like, oh, he's using the buckshot lariat on him, because he kind of uses the same move.
No, it's like they use similar. Yeah, they have similar.
They have similar finishes. I'm not in love with the fact that I understand the story they're trying to tell with Brody Lee and Adam Page. I'm not in love with the fact that Page took the loss. I think realistically, the person who should have taken the loss should have been Omega. Omega should have taken the loss.
I think it would have been nice to see Omega take the loss, only because
he was the one.
He needs the one that gets. He needs to be the one that turns on Page, so things have to go bad for him.
Well, but not only that. I think one of the things about it is, and again, when we take a look at the construct of this match, you're absolutely right. The Dark Order have no business being able to beat the Elite and FTR if it's a flat 6-on-6 match. They have no business winning this match. So they set up the spot, and again, in the beginning of the match, it's just, it's the Young Bucks being the Young Bucks with their gymnastics and all their, whatever. I wrote the first thing, I was like, okay, there was no entrances. All right, fine. I was like, again, if these are your top guys, they should get entrances. Cut off time somewhere else in the show. Brody Lee went for a leg flip, leg drop, 10 seconds into the match. I'm like, come on, man, really? Like, you're the biggest dude in the match. Don't do that. But the Bucks tag out, double team for an entire minute while referee, you guessed it, Rick Knox doesn't even count, doesn't even try to mimic. He's just standing there. Again, here's my thing with AEW tag team matches. If it's to the point where, that AEW tag matches, there are no rules to them. Because I'm beginning to believe that AEW, by proxy, all matches are no disqualification matches, no count-out matches, because those two particular finishes have essentially been eliminated from AEW. And the no contest, which is a third finish, has been eliminated from AEW's arsenal because of the way that the matches are officiated. Again, it's like whenever I watch an AEW tag team match, it's almost like there should be no referee because they're useless in the ring. They're just absolutely useless.
I don't know if you noticed, but every week it gets a little better. I think it's just.
I don't think so.
Really? This show was literally.
No. The tag team matches. I'm talking about the tag team referee.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. There were like 3 tag team matches today. I mean, on Wednesday, weren't there?
There were a few, but
yeah, and they were slower. People were running out of the ring. They were rushing out of the ring. I've seen so many people rushing out of the ring.
I won't say rushing out of the ring, but
they were rushing out of the ring.
But I will say this.
They just don't catch it every time.
The one thing about it for me is that I want to see the referees be more authoritative in those tag team matches and getting guys out of the ring. I want to see it come from the referee. I want the referee to be 1, 2, like yell it out. Be obnoxious about it. I want to see the referees do that because I don't see it. Aubrey Edwards was the best one at doing it, and even she doesn't do it in tag team matches either. So when I see that, I'm thinking that it's an instruction that they're getting that when in tag team matches, let the guys do whatever they want. If they want to double team for 2 minutes, let them do it. I think it's stupid because then it takes away. I understand that there's always going to be a part of the match where that's going to happen. And I'm okay with that, but it can't happen with half the tags that go on in the matches. That's too much. So that's where, that's my criticism with the refereeing in the AEW tag matches. Again, the what is it? Nick Jackson hits a top rope Hurricanrana and he can't beat the faceless Dark Order guy. That spot was unnecessary at that moment in the match, because when you're talking about a guy who, with all due respect, all intents and purposes, is a job guy, you hit him with a Hurricanrana off the top rope. That's the finish.
Was this number 9?
Yes.
I don't know who that is, but that guy is pretty good for someone who I don't know. No, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about. I was pleasantly surprised that he was pretty good.
Okay, but
I don't know who that is though. I don't know who.
But what I'm saying is that for a guy who's essentially an enhancement talent, because we don't know who he is, that spot should never happen. That's the end. That's what I'm talking about. That should be it. I don't understand why Ten and Anna Jay are chilling with the announcers. They're just out there just because. Again, it's a 12-man tag match, and then again, these are spots that they just do. You have 7 or 8 guys in the ring at the same time, and Rick Knox is chilling in the corner with his sunglasses, a popcorn, and a soda, watching it all happen. It's not even trying to stop it. Once FTR hits the ring, I was like, thank God, some good wrestling was happening. But I like the spot with the figure 4 reversal where FTR and Hangman were trying to do a triple figure 4 on 3 guys of the Dark Order, and then they got thwarted. I thought that was a good spot. That was nicely done. I say this all the time. I'm really, really starting to dislike this in any wrestling company where guys do these ridiculous top rope high spots, and you literally have every guy in the arena on the floor waiting to catch them. If you're going to do spots like that, you have to set them up in such a way that it doesn't look like everybody's just standing there for a good, minute and a half waiting for you to dive down. It's dumb. And they did it multiple times in this match. When Dax feigns his injury and he got hurt, that was the beginning of the actual, that's when I think the match really started, for real. Obviously it's just like, and I wrote this, why are all the elites so worried about Dax? They're not worried about Kenny getting his ass kicked in the ring. It's 6-on-1. Not the Young Bucks, Page, nobody even tried to jump on the apron, maybe run in the ring, do something, nothing. I wrote it's like, oh, it's 6-on-4. And I was like, oh, no, excuse me, 6-on-3. Hangman left his boys. So that is a subtle storytelling thing, is like, why would Hangman Page abandon his friends and his championship tag team partner to go with guys who are supposed to be essentially future opponents? Again, like I mentioned before, I hate the caravan tag. I just do. I saw one spot where Brody Lee was trying to tag in Colt Cabana, and Colt Cabana just came in. Apparently maybe, Brody Lee telepathically tagged him in. But, I didn't see any tag, and neither did the referee, but that's neither here nor there. They did the caravan tag for like the 3rd time in this match against Matt Jackson, and then, Matt Jackson just goes ahead and, hey, 1-on-6, he thwarts them all. Dude, it's 6-on-3. It's a numbers game. You should not be making that comeback all by yourself. Maybe get 2 of them or 3, and then when you turn around, the 4th one knocks you down. It's 6-on-1. That's why, and then that's the reason why I loved it. I was like, Magic Matt with the massive comeback and no tag. So the heels were getting heat on him, and he makes his own comeback, doesn't tag anybody. Then out comes Adam Page and Tony Schiavone. Oh, it's Adam Page! Like this ridiculous overselling of Adam Page coming back to the ring. And I thought to myself, like, Adam Page's comeback would have been fantastic had Matt Jackson not done one 30 seconds earlier. Had Matt Jackson just simply, tried to hang in there and not take all 6 guys down, it would have been more effective. I love Page's moonsault from the top rope onto the floor. It's just a matter that you hit it perfectly every single time. and it almost looks meaningless because it almost looks like just something that you can just do anytime you want. Take a little bump, even if you land on your feet, you let the barricade catch you. Don't make it look so perfect every single time. I don't know. Something about that just doesn't always looks meaningless to me. Brody Lee and Paige had an okay exchange. The problem that I had, and going back to the moonsault, one of the problems that I had is all the guys in the Dark Order are out on the floor waiting for him. Paige goes to the top rope. He hits the moonsault, and Brody Lee standing there on the apron the entire time didn't even try to stop him. He just basically watched him do it. And I'm like,
Brody, but which I thought was weird at first until I kept watching and I'm seeing that Brody Lee was almost looking at him. This was when he's looking at him for like what felt like an eternity, right?
Mm-hmm.
He sees him go up. He doesn't do anything. He lets him do it. Then he's in the ring and he's still staring at him. Almost infatuated, like if he wants him to join the Dark Order.
Well, you know what? You can,
he's a big fan of Hangman.
Listen.
That's the story.
God bless you. You're trying really hard to cover for that.
No, this is stories that have been told on television.
All I know is
Adam Page being recruited by Brody Lee.
1 week of that. Give me a break.
For someone who likes the storytelling of wrestling, you don't like the storytelling of wrestling.
No. Here's the thing about storytelling. Storytelling is that you're doing it over a long course of time. When Adam Page basically looked at Brody Lee and told him in no uncertain terms, no, I'm not going to join the Dark Order, made fun of him, goofed on him, there's no reason for Brody Lee to still be infatuated by him. At that point, what Brody Lee wants to do is you stop him. What that basically looked like to me was that maybe Brody got on the apron sooner than he needed to. But it's certainly not.
That was part of the match. That was part of the story.
Well, if it was part of the story, it was a silly part of the story because he shouldn't be so infatuated with Paige in that regard. Because it basically is it's saying that Brody Lee has no care for his guys, and I think
he doesn't. That's the story. He doesn't care for his guys.
He has no care for his guys.
We know that already. You know he doesn't care for his guys.
Yeah, except for Cabana.
Except for Cabana.
And obviously it's because he has all these, nameless, faceless dudes in masks. But anyway, by the time this match was over, I just wanted Rick Knox to be fired immediately. I just wanted him gone. If I never saw him again, I'd be happy. I will say this: the right team won this match. All right, you're talking about a match that was essentially 6 on 3.5. Because 6 on 4. Let me not say 3.5.
Hangman was missing for.
So that's why I'm saying it was like 6 on 3.5. So
he only came back for the hot tag.
So I'm just saying it was like 6 on 3.5. And this match was, again, when I look at Omega and the Young Bucks in this match, I think this match did a fairly good job of featuring the Dark Order, which again I've always complained about the Dark Order not being featured on Dynamite, and they basically had half of this show with the 2 matches that they had.
I thought Dark Order had a nice showing in this episode.
They did have a very nice showing in this match. They did. They won the match, which was the correct thing to do. It was, I'm like I said, I'm not in love with the fact that Brody beat Paige. I understand what the story is with those two. It's just a matter that I think that Omega should have taken the loss. That's just me. It was a schmoz. This match was a lot of it was a schmoz, but it was much more organized, and it was a much better thought out match than last week's, just junk fiasco with the Inner Circle and the Best Friends and Jurassic Express. This was much better laid out. So that's the positive. This was much better. It's a multi-man match, exponentially better. Again, good showing by the Dark Order. It's still a matter of like, okay, let's see where this goes, because like I said, I don't want to see the Dark Order being featured so heavily on this show. And then it's like, okay, we don't hear from them for a couple of weeks. Keep them going, and eventually you might get them over. But this was a good showing for them, this one match. It was.
All right, let's go to... How about we go to that triple threat contenders match? No, it's a match to get into the ladder match right? Like a fatal 5-way at Takeover. And this guy, is he hurt or something? What's his name? The creepy guy?
Oh, Dexter Loomis.
Yeah, Loomis. He's got taken out of the match.
I will say this. I don't know if this is injury
Or storyline?
God forbid, or COVID-19 deal.
Oh, right.
If it is a storyline thing, I think WWE made the right call. They made the right call in taking Loomis out of this match. With all due respect, Dexter Loomis does not need to be anywhere near a championship match at this point in his tenure.
We got a run-in! Oh my God!
What the? Oh.
It's him!
God.
It's him!
Run.
Oh my God. We got a run-in. Holy mackerel.
Literally ran upstairs.
Look at this guy, a run-in. Oh my God. What's up, Chris? Oh man, look at that. Look at all those crazy facials. Look at all those crazy facials.
He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
By God, I'm sick.
But
What's going on, gentlemen?
We were talking about Dexter Loomis, who has been removed from the Fatal 5-Way at Takeover. And on the show, did they say he's injured?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Again,
and
it's the right thing to do.
Did they say that they're gonna have another 3-way, or did I hear 2 one-on-one matches?
I think that William Regal is like, okay, there's gonna be 2 one-on-one matches
with the runners up, all the runners up. No, wait. How do you determine a runner up? Oh, the guy who didn't get pinned.
The guys who didn't get beat. It's a little confusing because I don't know if it's going to end up being 5 guys or it's going to be 4 at the end, because you only have 2 in the match right now.
You have 2 right? No, you have 3 right now. Next week is 4 because you have the match.
Oh, that's right. Damien Priest is in the match. That's right.
Yeah, Priest.
Bronson Reed, and who else? What about Dexter Loomis? Loomis is out.
Loomis is out. All right, Loomis is out. The Kushida match is next week. So
and then the other 2 matches. So that
and then the other 2 matches. So hopefully they learn and they add some star power, because this match was starting to, the Takeover match, the 5-way, was starting to look like it had no star power. But maybe they'll add some now.
I'll tell you what. In the end, this is actually going to end up looking pretty good, because this 3-way match was actually really good, surprisingly very good. I thought all 3 guys looked really good in this match.
I thought all 3 guys looked good. However, by the way, this is Damian Priest, Oney Larkin, and Rich Holland making his debut. So I don't agree with Rich Holland making his debut unless you don't want to do anything with him. Who took the? Oh, Oney took the pin. So is Rich Holland going to be in that match? Oh,
yes,
okay, good. So he has another opportunity to show what he can do.
And
I thought Oney, in terms of skill, looked the best out of everyone. He looked like the best worker in the match. He was the most, his fire is great. He gets me excited. When he's wrestling, I'm hyped. I'm like, oh, shit. And he seems to get better. Every week. This guy is so good.
He's fantastic.
Rich Holland looked good. For one, I'd never seen him before. But he has an impressive physique. He's like a thick guy.
He looks like a young Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Ow. I'm about to get the cramp. Ah!
I'm like, damn, Vic is that excited.
He does. Yeah, he has something of, there is like a similar Brock Lesnar thickness. Like, that's not normal how thick he is, but in shape. So, and he had he hit that big pounce type move. I thought that looked good.
Monty Brown would be proud of that.
Yeah, Monty Brown still has the best one, but oh no, wait. Well, Keith Lee has done a few good ones, right? On NXT.
Yeah, he's. I mean, when he knocked Adam Cole to the 3rd row ringside.
Yeah, that was crazy. I thought Priest looked good because he won the match, but I don't think he stood out in this match, considering he's the favorite. They used the term favorite for him, which I think was done on purpose to give you a hint that he'll be the favorite in the 5-way. And I
No.
think they want to take you off the scent and make you think he's going to win that 5-way, and I don't think he's going to win it.
I think that ultimately that wasn't necessarily the goal. I think that they wanted to call him the favorite only because, you know, when the announcers looked at Loomis and Bronson Reed saying, oh, they were underdogs, I didn't like the fact that they used the word underdogs for them because it kind of makes them look a little less than. But considering the talent they were in the ring against, I can understand why they'd be seen as the underdog. Looking at you know, again, I'm glad that Dexter Loomis is out of this match. No disrespect to Sam Shaw. He's a good wrestler. He really is. But in this particular scene, he shouldn't be in it. I like the fact that Damian Priest won this match. It was the right booking. It was the right booking decision. And the fact that he beat Oney Lorcan was fine because Oney Lorcan has already lost plenty of matches. He always looks good in his matches, whether he wins or loses. So him taking the fall doesn't kill him. Ridge Holland looked great. I mean, the fact that, you know, Damian Priest had to take him out of the match with what seemed like a massive, you know, he had Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, and every other big man ever done a choke slam ever embodied when he hit that move on Ridge Holland and took him out of the match. You know, it was well executed. I thought all three guys looked good. Nobody looked bad. And when I saw this match, I thought to myself, this is going to probably be the worst of the three. And it actually ended up being one of the better ones. So it was very well done. Then the interaction with Priest and Bronson Reed, you know, outside when, you know, afterwards, I thought that was perfect because again, it's making Bronson Reed look like he belongs with the big boys. And, you know, and I'm talking about the big boys in terms of, you know, image, you know, not size because, you know, he's bigger than Damian Priest, but, it was very well done. And right now with these two guys in the match, you know, then you're going to have the, you know, the cruiserweights, you know, next week, you know, wrestling. So you'll get somebody there with the mystery opponent. Let's see who that person is, you know, and then obviously you're going to have Gargano against Roddy Strong. You'll have Rich Holland, you know, wrestling against whomever. It's going to be well. I think that this match is going to be very, very good. And I'm looking forward to seeing what plays out because I think it's going to be a much more exciting match once we get the takeover than what I thought it would have been, you know, a week or so ago.
All right, let's go to Matt and Cody. What's that show? That ain't there a Disney show like Zack and Cody or some shit?
Yeah, the two twins.
I thought Chris would know and Lou knows and Lou's 104.
Listen, bro, I am all encompassing when it comes to TV. I'm pretty diverse. It's not just pro wrestling here, pal.
Lou knows his
Pretty
shit.
diverse.
So Matt and Cody versus the Dark Order. This is Alex Reynolds and what is it? Silver and Reynolds, right?
Yeah, Short John Silver.
Yes, John Silver.
Damn.
Alex Reynolds. I had a good time with this match. Before the match happened, what I wanted to happen was for Cody and Matt Cardona to have a little like rock paper scissors to who start the match. Kind of like, let me start it. No, I'll start it. No, and for Matt Cardona to be like, trust me, let me start it. And for Matt Cardona to beat the shit out of them. That's what I wanted to happen. That's probably what should have happened. But I'm okay with this match because to me, I thought it was a really good classic story here with the baby faces and the heels. With Cody doing great selling. Selling those ribs almost the entire match, it felt like. And they were patient for this hot tag. The whole match was built around like getting Matt Cardona in the match with this damn hot tag. I would have preferred Matt Cardona tell that story of I'm gonna fuck them up by myself and like just shock them like in a shocking manner. Only because he's so big now. He looks like he gained 20 pounds. He probably didn't. He's probably the same exact weight. But the hairy chest and the beard. And then you have like Zack Ryder. He started, I don't know, was he 21 or something?
He was younger than that.
He might have been like 20 years old when we started seeing him. And we remember him as a baby, right? Like as a kid. And now he's gone. And it's almost like now he's a man. And he looks like a totally different person. So he looks like he grew up. So I kind of wanted him to have that spotlight. But Silver and Reynolds are pretty good workers. I did not know that. I thought they were really, really smooth and probably had their best performance. Like I said, this was like a Dark Order episode. This is the best the Dark Order's ever looked. I was watching that match like, what the hell's going on? Like Silver and Reynolds can really work, And I believe they were trained by Myers, Zack Ryder's best buddy. So what a shocker there.
Brian Myers.
Brian Myers.
Got any comments, Chris?
I've been slacking on my viewership of late, but I did manage to watch Dynamite. One thing I've been keeping up with is fucking Cody. For the most part, has been wrestling forever, and on every Wednesday, like long match, fighting everybody. Like I wanted them to fuck them up. I wanted it to be, pardon my French, I wanted them to just quick in and out. Feature Matt Cardona, like Vic said, yeah, maybe let him start the match and not even tag Cody. Just
That's
let him.
what I wanted. I wanted Cody to sell it.
I'm here. This is what I'm about. And I also, to stray away a little, I want him to bury Zack Ryder. He's kind of still a little, the moveset, the hand symbols, the intro on the screen. I need him to just bury that character altogether. Like, I know it's what we know him as, but I need him to come out here and bury it. But for the most part, I enjoyed seeing him, and Cody was really bigging up these guys, Silver, Long John Silver, and
you mean Short John Silver?
Short John Silver. One thing I'll say is the announcers kept shouting him out, so I guess they want to feature him. JR kept, this guy's a worker, he's a great wrestler. I don't know. They gave him a little too much, I thought, but it is what it is.
I will say this, Chris. I couldn't agree with you more. It was you basically you kind of summed up my comments, but I'll unpack it a little bit more. This match was only intended to do one thing and one thing only, and that was to get Matt Cardona over. And with all due respect, they failed. They failed. So, again, this is the Dark Order's second match on this AEW episode. I don't care that John Silver and Alex Reynolds are good wrestlers. That's not the business of this match. The business of this match, if you're debuting a new stud in Cardona, and his tag team partner is the TNT champion, the other guys, there needs to be an understanding that the guys on the other side of the ring are not. First of all, it's not going to be a very long match, and they're not going to get a lot of offense in. That should be the construct of the match going in. Now you have Matt Cardona. I believe Cardona started the match, right? And the one thing that I said that I thought is when Cardona came out is like he got a better entrance in this episode of Dynamite to an empty arena than he ever did when he wrestled in the WWE. I was like, that's good on them. They're trying to make him look like a big star. Again, to Chris's point, when I see Matt Cardona, I don't see Matt Cardona. I see Zack Ryder. Now, do I expect him to rid himself of Zack Ryder in one match? The answer is no. That's not fair. That's not a fair thing to ask of him. But he has to – everything about him, from his hair to his look to his trunks, the boots, the hand wraps, everything is Zack Ryder. Everything. The only thing is, instead of seeing ZR on his trunks, it says MC. That's
on the screen. It was a big, huge MC.
That's it. That's the only difference. So there's nothing about his presentation that's any different. He comes in and he's having a wrestling match with Alex Reynolds and John Silver. No. He needs to go in. Reynolds and Silver can try to out-wrestle him, but Cardona thwarts them, and he smashes them. He tags Cody in. Cody does a little bit more. If the Dark Order is going to get some heat on him, it's got to be a little bit. Because I say this with all due respect. Yes, the Dark Order had a very good showing in the 12-man tag, but this match, you're talking about the TNT champion, and you're trying to promote a new star for your company. I'm sorry, the Dark Order. You have to look at yourself as underneath guys. The fact is that these two guys in the Dark Order, who have always been positioned as minions the entire time, basically took the TNT champion and a new star that just came from the WWE, and they take them to a 15-minute match. Why? It shouldn't be happening. Because again, Cody Rhodes was completely selfless in this match. Completely selfless. And believe me, I really appreciate that. However, when you're being selfless, you have to understand is that selflessness has to be limited to the point where the person that you're being selfless for, the people you're being selfless for, are people that can get over. The fact is, I'm watching this match and I'm like, who the hell are we pushing? Who the hell is supposed to be the star? Because I'm sorry, in the most ideal of settings, all the guys should come out looking good. That was not the purpose of this match. The purpose of this match was to make Cardona look like a star. And when I saw him in the corner, I'm like, I wrote a note that said, he looks like a star physically, but when I look him in the eye, he's still Zack Ryder. He doesn't believe it yet. And I didn't believe it either. When he gets the hot tag, why the hell are the Dark Order being able to get offense on him and cut off his comeback? It's stupid. Once Cody got his ass kicked for 8 minutes by the Dark Order, literally 8 minutes getting the crap kicked out of him, and Cody is selling like, oh my God, he's like Cody was getting beat up by Demolition or the Brain Busters. He's getting his ass kicked by the greatest tag team in the world. And it's two underneath guys beating the crap out of Cody Rhodes. For what? Listen, Alex Reynolds and John Silver are not going to be, they're not the guys that are going to be making you money anytime soon. Yep. Cody Rhodes is your money guy, and if you want Cardona to be a money guy, you got to sacrifice a few people. This is where the Dark Order had to be sacrificed in this match.
I appreciate, like you said earlier, appreciating Cody putting his ass on the line every week, but not here, not this night. Especially Dark Order had a great showing an hour ago. Now they can afford they took the L anyway, but they can afford a bigger L.
Here's the thing about it. The thing about it is that then you want to talk about story, because I know that Vic is big on, like the whole, wanting to do big stories and stuff. What you do is you have Alex Reynolds and John Silver get the crap kicked out of them by these guys, and then they can do something where they come to the back and then Brody Lee's giving it to them. Be like, you two punks, got your asses kicked and we won earlier. Why couldn't you, whatever. It's not a matter that they lost, it's how they lost. And then you can tell the story. And then you can have those guys wrestle against tag teams that can be perceived in the same level as them, and then they can win.
Because unfortunately, it seems like they did one part of what they wanted to do. They wanted to feature Matt Cardona as a stud, and then they wanted to also highlight Matt Silver and the other guy, I'm sorry, forgive me, how they're also great workers. Reynolds is a great worker, which I saw them as great workers, but it diminished a little bit of Matt Cardona.
Again,
well, I don't think that's what they wanted to do. I think what they wanted to do, yes, they wanted Cardona to look good, but I think they wanted to do it classic tag team style. That's what this match. If you change the people, right, you just go baby faces and heels. This was a classic old school tag match.
Correct, it was.
But I'm totally with you. I would have preferred to see Zack Ryder just. Zack Ryder in WWE worked. In WWE as Zack Ryder, he worked a medium-sized guy style, right? Similar to Cody in WWE. There's some guys who can't work big man in WWE. Zack Ryder could have worked big man in this style because he looks so much bigger than they did. And I would like to see him because now, in terms of weight, he's probably top 10 in AEW in terms of weight.
Well,
so he can power bomb somebody.
Well, here's the thing about it. I can't reasonably ask Cardona to work a big man style if he genuinely doesn't know how to do it, or he doesn't have a lot of experience doing it. because again, a lot one of the big issues at times that I have with AEW's booking is that they want all their matches to be competitive, and they don't want to feel like they don't want to sacrifice anybody in a match. They don't want anybody to be squashed. You know, again, it's all, you know, the way that I look at it is like, if I got a new person, how do I debut him? Again, the way that they debuted Cardona on Dynamite was flat, and it sucked. When he just ran out and helped Cody Rhodes beat up the Dark Order, and the Dark Order just had nothing to do with Cody Rhodes at all since probably late last year. You know, so they just appeared just out of nowhere, just so that Cardona can come in and do a run-in. I thought that sucked. Now they could have made it up with this tag team match. Just listen, was it a classic tag team match in terms of heels getting the heat, babyface trying and all that? Yes, it was. Was it like the perfect execution of a classic tag team match? No, it wasn't. But it was a good effort. They worked hard to try to do that. The problem is that the 4 guys that are in the ring in this particular match, you can't do that with. That would be like, again, this is, you know, going back, this is when, you know, when Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior were a tag team. Name me any 2 guys that were going to be able to work a match with those 2 guys and be able to have Hogan or Warrior get his ass kicked for 10 minutes. Especially if they would have been wrestling the Conquistadors. How stupid would that have looked? It's kind of the same premise here. The Dark Order in this particular match, and listen, Reynolds and Silver are both good wrestlers. It's not, you know, I'm not taking anything away from them. It's just a matter in this particular setting, the way that this match needed to be booked is Silver and Reynolds needed to go down and stay down. Once Cardona got in the ring, Cardona squashes both of them. Save Cody's ass. Save him. Dark Order gets 0 offense on him. Anything they try to do, Cardona squashes them like bugs. That's the idea, because that's how you want to get him over. That's why I say that this was not a good match, because even though it was a classic match and 3 of the 4 guys did an excellent job, meaning the Dark Order and Cody Rhodes, when Cardona came into the ring, the thing that he was supposed to do wasn't accomplished. And then at the end, when Cody Rhodes walks to the back, the match is over, and then are we paying attention to Matt Cardona? No, we're not. We're paying attention to Cody Rhodes and Arn Anderson when they're walking back to the locker room, and you see like some security guard dude looking there. Then when the camera finally pans to him, it's Scorpio Sky. So basically, Matt Cardona, this was a match.
Lost in the shuffle.
This was a good match for the sake of a good match, but it served 0 purpose. It served 0 purpose in the end.
Well, let's see. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let's go to probably the top segment of 2020.
Boy, I already know
I'm gonna get that, Lou. I already know Lou probably didn't like it. However, I thought it was wonderful.
No.
Right, we got
you'll be surprised by my comments.
All right, we got the debate: Chris Jericho, Le Champion, and Orange Cassidy, with the guest moderator Eric Bischoff.
No. You got to give him a bigger introduction.
Oh, Easy
Bischoff. There you go.
My man, Easy E. I like how AEW uses legends, right, of the business. Whether you like it or not, Easy E is a legend, baby. he's
definitely a personality, that's for sure.
He's gonna go down in history. People will never stop talking about Easy E.
Right about that. You're right about that.
And one thing we know that he's really good at is talking. That man can talk. So I thought it was a good way to use him, right? He doesn't have to come book the territory, but he can come and, you know, get a nice little guest spot.
You don't want him booking the territory. I don't want Tony Khan booking the show either, but I don't want Bischoff booking the show either. Get somebody else.
No, the booking is fine for the most part. All right, so this is gonna. Orange Cassidy does not talk, right? That's the story. We know that. I don't think we've heard him say 3 words probably in his Dynamite history.
Really, 3? It's more like 0.
No, I've heard him talk.
I don't know if I've heard his voice.
I've heard him talk. I can't remember where or when, but I should have did my research, but
He hasn't spoken.
but I have heard him talk. I just don't remember when or where, so I can't confirm or deny. But either way, this is gonna build up to him finally, breaking out and speaking. So of course, in the beginning, Jericho's just destroying him. Question number one, whatever it was, who's the most popular wrestler? I don't know if that was the question or whatever. But Jericho buries him. Question number two, Jericho buries him again. Orange Cassidy does not have a word. And third question, and that 18 that 18 to look at Lucy. The 18 to 49 demo will really like this. It's a climate change, global warming question, basically. And let me tell you something. When Orange Cassidy,
it's exactly what I tuned into the show for.
When Orange Cassidy finally speaks and he executes this to perfection, he nails it.
I definitely tuned in.
Like if it's a damn movie.
For my climate change info.
Let me tell you that I was on. I picked up as soon as he finished his line. I picked up my phone, and I don't know why. My phone was charging. I'm in front of the TV. My phone's charging. I pick up my phone. I don't know what I was gonna do with my phone. I was gonna get on Twitter. I was gonna get on YouTube. I don't know what I was gonna do, cause he popped me. I burst out. Ah!
So did I.
And I think Chris sent me a video chat right then and there. Did you see this? Did you see this? You damn right I did. Either way, fourth question doesn't matter. Final question. What does this match mean to you? Right? Something like that. Why is this match important?
Why is this match so important to you?
Yeah, and that's where Orange is gonna fire up and give you the passionate Orange Cassidy, heartfelt, fired up babyface promo. This is the most important match of my life, but and here come a little bit of mind games. This is the most important match of your life. Why? You're gonna lose to a guy who puts his hands in his pocket, a guy who doesn't talk. You're gonna get embarrassed, basically. I thought this was great. This was great. I thought Eric Bischoff did a great job. I thought Jericho did a great job, and I thought Orange Cassidy did a great job. And the subtlety of Orange Cassidy's character. It's okay if some people don't like it. It's not for everyone. I agree, absolutely. But why I like it is it's genius. He does nothing most of the time, so that when he does do something, it is so important. When he hasn't spoken, but when he finally did, it was monumental.
Yeah,
it was a huge deal. He didn't say anything groundbreaking, but because he's never spoken, that's it. Just like his wrestling, he's gonna give you all the little bullshit stuff, but like when he built up to the Pac match, he did nothing ever. Then he finally had the match, and you probably didn't see it, Lou, but for me it was a great match, and I was shocked. Did not see it coming. To me, it's a genius character, and these moments are why I feel that way.
Yeah. I thought it was. I'm so. This is what I haven't been like keeping up, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. So I tune in, and this is what I'm watching. I'm like, all right, Orange Cassidy's gonna debate. This is gonna be interesting. Hearing him speak, don't know what the hell the man's voice sounds like, but Jericho's gonna shred him. And he's standing there. He throws on the clip-on tie onto his T-shirt. Jericho's thanking him for dressing to the occasion. Cool. And he's at the podium leaning and not interested with his shades on. And then out of nowhere, he goes on this quick-ass, fact-based little rant about what he's passionate about, I guess. Climate change is what he's passionate about. It's not wrestling. And he's going off, going in. And then, like, okay, he's here. I enjoyed it. Fucking random, the random little tidbit of climate change. Even Bischoff was thrown off by the question. I love Jericho. Jericho was just shredding him to start. I enjoyed him getting his ass kicked at the end. But what I thought about the segment was it was a foreshadowing of Jericho losing next week. Jericho's buried. He's done. He's over. Just off of the debate. He's going to lose next week. He's going to get his ass kicked. That's it.
Well,
sorry, Y2J.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
It's over.
Now I will say this. I enjoyed this segment a lot more than I thought I would. Now, the first thing that I will say is that this is the first faux pas that AEW made on this segment, and the segment didn't even start. The fact that they had Sammy Guevara come out, to do the little cue card picture garbage, I was like, dude, you were in a fight with Matt Hardy not 30 minutes earlier. You did a freaking somersault flip from the top of the stage on top of Matt Hardy through a table, and yet 30 minutes later, your ass was out there with cue cards like nothing happened. It felt like you got hurt even a little bit. I don't need to see your ass back on TV, not on that night. You're finished for the night. Sit down, have a drink, watch the rest of the show. You ain't coming back out. The fact that Bischoff came out as the moderator, I wasn't surprised at all. I was expecting it. So that's, there was no surprise there to me. I looked down, orange looks like orange. And then in quotes I put, it's not a compliment. It just doesn't. I thought that Jericho and Hager looked good in their suits. I was really disappointed, and I don't like the fact that Jake Hager, an undefeated MMA fighter and a former world heavyweight champion, was basically a very well-dressed, coat hanger for Chris Jericho. Because all he did throughout that entire segment until the physicality happened was he was just standing there holding Chris Jericho's jacket and making faces when he smelled it.
The evidence.
Just ridiculous. I thought that Jericho was just grilling him, and it was great. It was very well done. When I just wrote down, is like Orange Cassidy speaks nothing about wrestling, but he gives a dissertation regarding PCC levels. I was like, okay. I just rolled my eyes and I was like, okay, of all things, but I was like, whatever. I thought it was stupid. After a while, it seemed like when Jericho was just barbing at him. After he did it the third or fourth time, I was like, okay, this is getting stupid. It's getting to be too much. Jericho has a lot of material, but after a certain point, it's like if you're the baby face, at some point you're going to have enough and you got to cut him off. When Orange Cassidy finally cut Jericho off and he started speaking and he gave his promo, I was like, hey, Orange Cassidy can actually speak. He can talk. His promo was very good. It was well done. He had passion. Everything that he said, it sounded like he believed it. So that was a good promo. The thing that I did not like is that as soon as he said it, and then Jericho 6 Hager after him, he didn't even try to defend himself. He didn't even try. And I didn't like that. Because you figure that if he cuts that kind of a promo, he would be ready to fight. If the heels wanted to get physical, he'd be ready to do so. If Hager and Jericho kicked his ass 2 against 1, that's one thing. But he didn't even try to defend himself. And I'm like, okay, so I just complimented you on cutting a great promo, and then you went right back to being the shits because you refused to defend yourself. You're not a martyr, dude. You know what you're in
for climate change?
No, a martyr for pro wrestling. Like, get in there. If you're going to, the heels are coming after you. Try to defend yourself. Chuck and Trent come out afterwards, and again, Chuck and Trent already had a match earlier or whatever have you. So I was like, all right, fine. They came in to run the inner circle off, to run Jericho and Hager off. But, listen, was the segment horrible? No, it wasn't. It was much more entertaining than what I expected. It's just a matter that they're little things, that, again, the whole thing with Sammy Guevara, that was unnecessary, didn't even need to be there. It got to the point where Jericho, as great as his barbs were, because they were really good, got to be too much after a certain point. And Orange Cassidy, when the heels are coming after you, after you finally speak up for yourself, you got to be ready to fight. You can't stand there and let them beat you up. He didn't even try to defend himself. So that was
I think
bad.
he's saving it for next week
Oh, baloney.
when he wins.
Yeah, baloney.
He's gonna win.
Listen. I don't.
He almost has to win now.
I will say this. In all honesty, I don't necessarily. I'll say that in most times I don't really care necessarily about the results of wrestling matches. For the most part, it's always about how you win and how you lose. It's not necessarily who wins and who loses. It's very rare a time when I see a match and I'm like, the wrong person won. In this, but in this instance, if Orange Cassidy's going to win, there has to be another layer peeled off in his persona, in his gimmick. Because if it's going to be a matter that he's going to continue being like that same sloth, like I don't care type of thing, and he's only going to kind of bow up when it's absolutely necessary. We've already seen that. We've seen it with Pac. We've seen it, with the Lucha Brothers. We're seeing it with the Inner Circle. At some point, we need to see something different. I'm hoping that we get to see that, because again, Orange Cassidy has a long way to go before it gets over with me. But this segment was not horrible. This is probably the first time I've seen Orange Cassidy in a segment on AEW that I haven't pissed on completely. So it was a good job done by all. It's just a matter of those little things. But like I said, much better than what I thought it would have been going in.
I gotta agree. I think this is the perfect opportunity to let him loose. You're fighting what's been promoted. The man that's been promoted as the GOAT on your promotion. He said it. Other people have said it. So this would be the perfect time to cut Orange loose.
Well,
I think.
Let's see.
All right. Speaking of winners, let's not talk about Rhea Ripley, because that is not what she is. Can we have an entire video called "The Rise and Fall of Rhea Ripley"?
Nah, not yet. This was
Too
actually
soon?
this was actually the right way to do this match.
The match is fine. My problem is not the match. My problem is I'm okay with Dakota Kai winning. Why does she have to beat Rhea Ripley? I don't know. But fine, if you're gonna beat Rhea, okay. Then you bring out Mercedes Martinez to do the dirty work, so which is fine until you realize that Mercedes Martinez is part of the Robert Stone brand, the Jobber brand. Rhea Ripley is back to feuding with the fucking jobbers. Underneath talent? That's underneath talent. That is underneath talent. The number one woman in NXT, or potentially what she's supposed to be the number one woman, is Mercedes Martinez is great, but this Robert Stone brand thing should not be going on. It should have been over and done with, right? Rhea Ripley moved past. I was done with it. Oh shit! What was that?
Oh, Vic is upset.
I was done with it. Rhea Ripley, they are playing with fire with this girl. So what are they gonna do now? Okay, they're gonna go 50-50 probably, or Rhea's gonna be Mercedes. Mercedes just got here, can't afford to lose, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. She can. To Rhea Ripley, yes, she can.
I don't know. Not so. It's gonna disappoint me, because I guess that Mercedes Martinez is gonna be used as a person who's gonna win here, lose here, win here, lose here, and she could easily be the Undertaker of the women's NXT division.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. She's a little older, but I don't care about that. If you are the best person for the job, you should get the job. And she should be the top heel in the company. And she's just gonna – you can't build her up to that if she's just coming in and she's already losing. She just got here. I do not want to see that. I want to see it, but not under these circumstances. I want to see it in 4 months. I want to see it with Mercedes Martinez not being a part of the Robert Stone brand. Now that she is, I no longer want to see – I don't want to see Rhea Ripley involved with the Robert Stone brand, which is a comedy act. It is a comedy act.
Okay.
It's an underneath comedy act. That's what it is. Okay. And normally I wouldn't care. But Rhea Ripley,
once she lost to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, we could not play games with Rhea Ripley. We had to book her ridiculously strong. That is not what has happened at all. She has not been booked strong. She looks like a fool.
God damn.
Yeah, like she's to me, she's no longer a star. The only way you'll get this back is if she wins the Rumble and somehow Charlotte Flair gets her hands on a title and Rhea Ripley gets her win back at WrestleMania. Until that happens, I don't even want to talk about Rhea Ripley.
So she's done for the year?
She's done for 2020.
God damn.
Wow. Go ahead, Chris.
I can't.
I'm gonna give a rebuttal.
You go, Lou. Just go.
Go ahead, Lou. Yeah.
Just defend this nonsense.
All right. Well, here's the thing. This match was actually the way that when this match was booked, I thought to myself, I was like, okay, we need to have a way for Dakota Kai to win this match. So I'm thinking there's no Raquel Gonzalez, so there's no heater for her. She doesn't have her muscle. And realistically, in a one-on-one match, Rhea Ripley should not be losing to Dakota Kai. In a one-on-one match, straight up, no BS, no interference, no nothing, Rhea Ripley should win 99 times out of 100. All right? Now, the match, again, I saw this match, and in the beginning, I thought that the match was a little bit rocky in the beginning, and it had nothing to do with the actual wrestling. It had to do with the way they were telling their story. Because, again, Rhea Ripley's so much bigger and stronger. She's the baby face, but she was acting like a bully, almost looking like the heel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things with Rhea Ripley that I'm like, okay, you don't have the – how can I say this? She doesn't have the credibility of Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though she's really, really good in her role. She doesn't have that credibility, and none of the heels on the other side are legit badasses that can bring that out of her so where it doesn't make Rhea look like the heel. So I'm like, you have to be able to balance that out a little better. In the beginning of the match, it looked bad. As the match progressed, it began to meld and look good. Like Rhea Ripley's the babyface, Dakota Kai is the heel. Then eventually it just kind of all came together. As the match went on, I was like, okay, do I want to see Rhea Ripley wrestle Io Shirai? The answer is no. Io Shirai just won the title. She can't wrestle against Rhea Ripley because if she does, that's just a schmaz waiting to happen because that's a booking nightmare. Because you can't put Rhea Ripley in a championship match and not put the belt back on her. And if you do so, you kill Io Shirai by proxy. So Dakota Kai has to win this match. Now, when Mercedes Martinez interferes, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. She's doing this on the behest of Robert Stone. Think about it. Robert Stone and Aaliyah as a unit are a joke. They're a comedy joke act. When you insert Mercedes Martinez into it, now it becomes something different. The thing that ends up happening here is that now you give Dakota Kai the win that she needs. You give a screw job finish for Rhea Ripley, and then you give Rhea Ripley a graceful way out. So like she's not coming for blood, wanting to take out Io Shirai and Dakota Kai and interrupt their match, because now she's got a bigger problem, at least momentarily, to deal with. And she's not wrestling Aaliyah and Robert Stone because that would be a joke. She's wrestling against Mercedes Martinez, who Mercedes Martinez has always been presented as a legit badass. Now, the reason why I say this makes sense is because if you're trying to get Robert Stone over as a manager, you want to get him over as, like a Jimmy Hart or a Bobby Heenan or somebody to that level. And I might be stretching, but to get him in the eyes of the audience to be a manager that has some clout, that when he brings his representatives, it's going to mean something. This had to happen. Now
it had to happen 3 months ago.
No, because here's the thing with Chelsea Green, they could have had that with Chelsea Green. WWE screwed that up by separating them and moving her to the main roster. That's neither here nor there. What's done is done. If they're doing a reset with Mercedes Martinez, I'm okay with that. Now you're going to get a match between Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's going to beat her, but here's the thing: it's okay if you're Mercedes Martinez. It's like, what's going to be more impressive? Beating up a bunch of tomato cans that you already know going into the match that she's going to beat them. And if it takes her more than 3 minutes to win the match, it's like, why did this match take so long? Or you put her in there against the number one woman on the roster. All due respect to Io Shirai, because I know she's the champion, but the biggest star and the biggest women's star on the brand is Rhea Ripley. There's no
Supposed to be the
denying.
biggest star on the brand.
There's no denying that.
She's thinking quickly.
Here's the thing: was she what was the star dimming when she was working against Robert Stone and Aaliyah? The answer is yes. It was a joke. But now with Mercedes Martinez in there, and here's the thing: it's not going to end with Mercedes Martinez, because in all honesty, it's going to become Robert Stone, Aaliyah, Mercedes Martinez, and Indy Hartwell. I'm sure Indy Hartwell is going to become part of the Robert Stone brand too. And when you take a look at her, she's a big, impressive-looking athlete. So everything is based around trying to tie all these things in. Ultimately, I think that with Mercedes Martinez, she can lose to Rhea Ripley and not get buried in the process because she's the biggest women's star on the NXT brand. So it's okay. And the thing about it is that you got to give baby faces something. You got to give them something to overcome. WWE screwed it up with Shotzi Blackheart, but I understand that Shotzi Blackheart versus Mercedes Martinez is nowhere near as interesting as Rhea Ripley versus Mercedes Martinez. You got to give the baby faces something to overcome. Mercedes Martinez is not Aaliyah. She's not.
Oh no, I have no problem with this matchup. I just don't like the circumstances. That's all.
Listen, the circumstances being what it is, because again, Dakota Kai needs this win. Because here's the thing: Dakota Kai against Io Shirai is the right matchup to have now.
I agree.
Because Dakota Kai has been doing an excellent job. WWE's done an excellent job with her over the last several months, with her and Raquel Gonzalez building them up as a unit, as like they're really like the only legit heel unit. Obviously, they're trying to do it with Candice LeRae, but again, I have my issues with Candice as a heel because I'm not believing it as of yet. But Dakota Kai and Raquel have done a great job. So it's time to elevate her to wrestle against Io because Io needs people to beat. She needs to beat somebody. And ultimately, you can have Mercedes Martinez lose to Rhea Ripley and Mercedes still not lose any steam and still potentially be able to go after Io Shirai if Io is still the champion a couple of months down the line.
Yeah, trusting WWE to book that correctly is... we will see, though. We will see.
Well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because I thought that this whole thing with Robert Stone was going to be a complete loss. And it's not. This actually does make sense. The only thing that I will say is that Robert Stone's promo, when he was talking, when him and his entourage left afterwards, I looked at him and I was just like, that's the moment where Robert Stone has to look at the girl, the interviewer, and basically verbalize how pissed off he was at being disrespected and basically crapped on by Rhea Ripley. And that's the only one thing that was a miss because Mercedes Martinez is probably not the best promo because the voice doesn't necessarily match the look. Aaliyah is just pretty for the sake of being pretty, but nobody's really taking her seriously. Robert Stone needed to verbalize his anger at that moment and say why it was that he basically sent Mercedes out to give Rhea Ripley a receipt and cost her a match. Because the thing is now the stakes are getting higher. And that's the storytelling in this, that it's a much more interesting matchup and it gives Rhea Ripley something that she has to overcome. And the thing is that if it helps build the Robert Stone brand as a unit, having Mercedes there and wrestling against the top woman on the NXT roster, having a good showing, maybe even getting a screwy win. I don't know if it'll go that far, but putting Rhea Ripley to the test to where it's almost like it's not a one and done type thing. It's a story that will continue for a little while, and if they put more women with Robert Stone to throw at Rhea Ripley, it makes perfect sense. Because then once we get to January and we get to the Royal Rumble, because believe me, as of right now, it looks like the only person that makes sense to win that Royal Rumble in January is Rhea Ripley. As of right now, August 7th, August 8th. That's the right choice to make.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But I'm okay with the way that this match went down. I'm totally fine with it.
All right, let's let's go to the main event of AEW. Darby Allin versus John Moxley for the title. These guys start. They go to lock up. Moxley hits Darby with a nice nasty elbow, busts him open quick. first 30 seconds of the match, I was like, oh shit. I like that earlier in the night, Moxley cuts a promo and he's like, hey kid, like, you know, I know you're gonna go out there, you're gonna whatever, do whatever it takes, but when it's time to lay down,
when it's time to stay down, you stay down.
You stay down. When it's time to stay down, don't keep getting up. Please, basically. He's like basically begging him, don't force me to kill you, basically. Which I thought was a nice little tactic there to give us a little clue into what was gonna happen in this match. You know, Moxley's the bigger guy, and he you can see it in the match. That's the story they're telling here. Darby's trying to find ways to get offense. He's being creative. You know, to me, he's probably the fastest guy I've ever seen in the damn ring. One of the fastest people I've ever seen move, and you know, he's trying to use that speed, but you see him getting worn down. Eventually, Wardlow makes his way to the ring, gets on the apron, distracts the ref. MJF. They also teased that earlier too. They asked them. Did they ask MJF? He mentioned, I don't know if it was last week, but he mentioned that, oh, why would I want to fight a 120-pound emo kid? And I guess that's when the light goes off in his head. Oh shit, this guy is small. I could probably beat him, and I don't have to deal with John Moxley, who's been positioned as a badass, whatever, or an ass kicker. So he's gonna come in. He's gonna hit Moxley with the belt. Darby's gonna realize, oh, what the hell? Here's my opportunity. Goes for the coffin drop, hits the coffin drop. That's a false finish right there. That almost happened. Like, oh! I thought it was a good one. Then a little later on, he goes for another coffin drop, right? And then Moxley kind of does like a instant reversal, and he like lands into a choke. Yeah, he's like about to pass out. He gives him the middle fingers, like, I'm not dying, bro. You got to do more. You're gonna get a Gotch style power driver, which I thought was pretty cool. He kicks out of that too. So Moxley, but towards the end of the match, Moxley's telling the story. Like, I don't want to do what I have to do necessarily. I like this kid. I respect this kid. He reminds me of me. They've been telling the story for a long time between these two guys. They kind of get each other, you know. And Darby gained Moxley's respect last time they fought. The only person who has helped Moxley in any situation has been Darby. No, pretty much, as far as I can remember. And then you have the paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3, and Moxley looks like he's damn near gonna cry. Some of probably Moxley's best like facials I've ever seen and shit. Like, I was like almost in tears. It was very emotional. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah, I really like the emotion of this match.
Yeah, as did I. I really liked this kid, Darby, is pretty creative, man. Like, I love when he comes out with the paint or whatever, what have you, on his side. The mask was dope. Like, basically John Moxley looking at John Moxley, and then the hole through the eye, probably symbolizing the eye patch or something. I don't know. I thought that was fucking dope. The camera zooms in on him, and you just see his like piercing white eye coming through there. I like this kid a lot. He's fucking small as shit, but he takes a beating every time, and he gets up, and that's the story they've been telling since I first seen this cat. Since I saw him fight Cody, he's just giving Cody a run for his money. So I enjoyed the match. I really liked They're back and forth. Him keeping up with Moxley. Moxley basically beating the shit out of him. It was basically an encompassing of the entire show of everyone fucking each other up. Sorry if I'm cursing too much, but there's a lot of blood on this episode. Like, guys were really hard hitting, which I enjoyed. I like, for the most part, MJF coming out, involving himself in the title picture. When is All Out?
Labor Day weekend.
Okay, so we still got a whole month for MJF's campaign.
Yep.
Not sure who's voting for him, but yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the match. I mean, obviously Darby wasn't gonna win. Just highlighting the heart that this kid has. Did he deserve a title shot right now? Probably not, but hey.
I mean, this was, again, this match was okay. It's one of those times where this is a match for the sake of having a match. There was no. Did Darby Allin should be getting a shot at the AEW title? The answer is no. The answer is no, not now. There's a couple of things about this match. The fact that I saw Moxley doing the sign of the cross prior to the match beginning, and I was just like, that's very unlike his character. Maybe the real life person, but not. I like Darby Allin a lot. I do, but he looked like a child standing next to Moxley, and that's not saying much because Mox is very tall, but he's not really like he doesn't have an imposing physique. So the fact that Darby looks so small next to him, that's a bit of a, this match, it's. I looked at the match for like the first minute or two that they were in the ring, and Moxley's actually wrestling against Darby Allin because he likes him. And I wrote, maybe Moxley should start liking more people on the roster because we probably get better matches out of him. The brawling shit that he does. The match goes out to the floor 2.5 minutes in, so that felt, that started feeling a little more like a Moxley match because he was in the ring for the first, 2.5 minutes, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, we might be getting a wrestling match here. So
something new.
Yeah, once he went out to the floor, I was like, okay, all right. I feel better. Everything's okay. The one thing that I will say is that there was one spot in this match that I just thought was like, it's just not good, but I'll explain why. So, when Darby and Moxley are fighting on the stage, and then Moxley grabs him, throws him off the stage, and Darby flies off the stage head first into the ring post. Mm-hmm. That should be the end of the match. That's an injury angle. That's not a spot to go to the break. There's like 100 other ways that you can do it. That spot was not necessary because a guy that small getting launched from that distance should be the end of the match.
Yeah,
not this guy though. Not this guy.
The art of taking bumps, and I guess you could thank like a Shawn Michaels for this. There's a lot of people who are like bump specialists who make things look like they. In AEW, you have like Sammy, you have Joey Janela, and you have Darby. That when you throw them, it's like full commitment. They don't get hurt on it, shockingly, but they make it look like they like it's the craziest thing ever, and they might be too good at that because this looks. Most people get thrown to the post, and it doesn't look as devastating. Darby got thrown, and it looked crazy. Exactly. It looked crazy.
But here's
too crazy.
The thing about it is that when you're putting the match together and you speak about a spot like that, from a psychological perspective, it doesn't make sense to have that spot in the match. Because a guy that small, when you take that kind of bump and it looks really good, Darby shouldn't get up. You just shouldn't. It's just, again, it doesn't make any sense. That's an injury angle spot that you could have done with Brian Cage. He grabs him, does the exact same spot, but it's coming from Brian Cage. He does it. He injures Darby. Darby's out for a while. Even if it's just to kind of keep him off TV, and you can bump up Brian Cage, and he can just keep talking smack and have Taz cut promo saying, "Oh yeah, we took out Darby, we took out Darby, we took out Darby," and then 6 weeks later, Darby comes back and gets his receipts on him. for the spot in that match, it didn't make any sense, especially knowing that Darby was basically up and fighting again 10, 15 seconds later. Even if he wasn't in control, he was still lucid and still with it. Made no sense. Moxley's trying to show. I liked the one thing I liked about this story. I like the story that Moxley's trying to show mercy, and he's trying to be merciful towards Darby because he likes him, and Darby's like, "Screw you, I'm going balls to the wall because I want to be the champion." I like the juxtaposition of those two stories being told because it's two people that have two completely different mindsets going into this match. Moxley, and again, it's very unlike Moxley because Mox has always been like, I'm all about me. I have no friends. Anybody that steps up to me is gonna get the business. And for some reason, he's being merciful towards Darby Allin. The one thing I will, and Darby's dive, the dive that he does out to the floor when he does like that head first dive, that thing is sick. That thing is sick. I mean, he shows such a commitment to doing it. It's almost reckless. It's almost a reckless commitment. And I'm like, I just hope that nobody ever messes that spot up, meaning getting out of the way, or that Darby mistimes it and gets himself hurt, because that looks so sick, but it's almost reckless. I will say this, that I was actually kind of frustrated with Rick Knox, the referee, but it's not for what he does in the tag team matches. It's what he actually did here, is that he's trying to enforce the rules. And again, Rick Knox, it's weird.
Don't do your job, Rick.
No, because here's the thing, right? This is where it kind of really dawned on me about the refereeing. I was like, all of Jon Moxley's matches are no DQ matches by proxy. No one has to say it. It just is. It just is. So if you have a referee in Rick Knox that referees about at least 2/3 of the tag team matches and is literally deaf, blind, and dumb through all of them, he counts nobody out of the ring. He doesn't count anybody out of the ring. When the exchanges come, nothing. He's only there to count the 3. And yet in a world title match where it basically should be a no DQ match by proxy, he's over here counting Darby Allin when he's on the top rope and he's trying to dive onto Moxley. And he's counting him like 1, 2, and I would have been like, if I'm Darby Allin, it's like, what are you gonna do, bitch? You gonna disqualify me? No. It's like, again, it's one of those things where you can't have the same referee refereeing the matches 2 completely different ways. It's like, be consistent. That's the reason why I was mad at him for doing that. Again, I go back to saying after Darby got into control, after that post spot and everything, it kind of make everything else in the match seem a little less meaningful. The one thing, and then there's, when MJF nails Mox with the title, and that let me know very clearly that MJF wants no part of Jon Moxley. Good storytelling, exactly what you want. The only thing that bothers me, and again, this is where MJF is being the perfect heel, because Wardlow comes out again. It's a no disqualification match by proxy, but Wardlow comes out and he distracts the referee. He comes in, boom, hits Moxley with the belt. Mox gets the color. It's all good. The one thing I will say is that, when Darby got that near fall, that was a near fall.
Yep.
I was even like halfway believing. It's like, oh my God, he's gonna win this match. The only thing that I will say is that when Moxley had to do the 3 layers, when Darby went for the coffin drop and then Moxley got him with the choke, that should have been the end of the match. Should have been the end. I understand the story that they're trying to tell, but it's like, you already told all the physicality throughout that match. Moxley just needed to choke him out. He does he's choking him. Darby refuses to go down. Then he hits him with a pile driver that should have broken his neck. 1, 2, kick out. The pile driver looked more devastating than the DDT, but the DDT finishes him off. I know that's Moxley's finish, but there was no need for it. I understand what they were trying to do with it and telling that story, but that was one step too many. The match in and of itself, again, was it great? No, but it was good storytelling. So I appreciated it. It was a good effort by both guys. They each got their stories across. And, now it's a matter of like, with Darby Allin, do we continue now his storyline with Taz, Ricky Starks, and Brian Cage, which I think that should be, again, this is where, again, sometimes you make matches for the sake of having matches. That story needs to continue to be told. And now let's hope that now they reset and put Darby Allin where he should be right now, is working with Taz's stable, and telling a story with those guys.
Like and subscribe, everyone.